Hello. What's going on? This is Nick, and welcome to the first episode of Soundtracks. I'm here with our good friend Evan. What's going on, Evan?
Hello, Nick. Just want to say you're lucky for having me.
True. You're a big get in the soundtrack world.
Yeah. We have 15 minutes, so let's make this quick.
Welcome to the first episode of Soundtracks. Evan will be my co-host. We're looking to have a little fun, talk a little bit of music, talk a little bit of movies. We were just debating on what the point of the show really is, which is actually perfect for this first movie we're doing.
It's also worth mentioning that we did not come to a conclusion before recording this, so we'll be figuring it out on the fly, I think.
Which, whatever. That's kind of how this movie is. So if you saw the title of this first episode, we are covering the Big Lebowski, which, if you haven't seen it, this show was probably going to be a spoiler for you. So maybe you want to go watch it and then come back to this.
Yeah, don't even listen to this. That's a bad selling point for the podcast, but probably better if you've seen it.
Yeah, but it's a great movie. From what year did this movie come out? 1998, which is a Coen Brothers film, which starred. It's got like a whole barrage of characters, which we're gonna see a lot of them on today's episode. But we've got Jeff Bridges, who plays the dude, as you probably know him, or Jeffrey Lebowski. John Goodman, Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, Philip Seymour Hoffman. The list kind of goes on. One of our favorites, John Turturro in this movie. Turturro?
Turturro. I don't know.
Turturro.
Dude, I was just thinking.
It's a lot of fun.
Is the dude like the biggest Halloween outfit from like a comedy movie that you see?
It's got it. It's up there. It's easy.
Yeah. You can't include like horror movies and stuff like that, but
right.
As far as comedies go, it's so easy.
That's how. Did you know the story that's an outfit from his closet, from Jeff Bridges' closet that he pulled out when they were casting for it, and he like had those gel sandals and.
There you go. Yeah.
So, yeah, in a robe and whatnot. So the point of the show is to be talking about the soundtrack. Obviously, we're big movie fans, so we're going to weave in as much as we can. But this was curated. It's not like an original score. I don't think there's any orchestral scores in this movie by T-Bone Burnett. So there's some fun things that he put in here, including some like maybe, I don't know, topical or like relevant to the story. Probably not topical, but they're relevant to the story that we'll go through.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it before the show, but basically saying how, some soundtracks are going to tell the story of the movie through music. Others might just be random, good sounding songs that fit with what's happening in the movie. But this one is kind of like, if anything, it tells more of the character development. And you can kind of put specific songs to specific characters more so,
yeah,
and kind of learn about the characters through the music they're paired up with.
Yeah. So the first one that we're gonna do is from the opening credits, which is
good place to start.
Exactly. So we're gonna in any of these shows we're gonna go through them kind of chronologically through the movie. So. In this episode or future episodes, so that we can kind of look at, all right, why is this important to the movie? Where did this tie in? Is there anything interesting about the actual song choice or whatever? So the first one is The Man in Me by Bob Dylan, which, just as a note, so Coen Brothers had a few songs that they wanted to feature in this movie, and this one was not one of them originally, and T-Bone Burnett brought it to them, and he was like, you should put this in there. This is an awesome Bob Dylan song that's kind of like not a famous song of his. So before this movie, this was not a really popular Bob Dylan song. Now I bet if you play this for 7 or 8 out of 10 people, they probably know this song specifically from this movie.
Right. And if you're thinking of one song from this movie, I think this is it too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So let me get that uploaded right now. All right, so the first one that we're going to do is The Man in Me by Bob Dylan. And basically, the dude just got ambushed at his apartment in his rug, pissed on. So, here we go. Don't really have much more to say besides that.
Nailed it.
So if you haven't seen this movie yet, now's your chance to dip out. You haven't missed much.
You're still here?
Yeah. And you can kind of see the whole run through here of the cast. Julianne Moore, I don't know if I mentioned her. I forgot she's in this movie. She plays Maud. This scene is great. Like the way that they paired this, I don't know, really whimsical, floating song. They use it twice in this movie. But I love the, with the visuals of the balls slowly rolling down the aisles. What are those called? Lanes?
Yep. I mean, this could be like a music video for this song.
Right?
Just like a middle America bowling alley.
Yeah. It was supposed to take place in 1991, and I'm pretty sure that bowling at the time, I mean, I was really young at that point, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure bowling at that time was a pretty popular thing, for even, people in their 20s and 30s to be going out and to play. Now I think it's kind of older folks who play it.
Yeah, growing up, that was like a thing we did. You would like go bowling with friends. And now it's like, I can't tell you the last time I went bowling.
Yeah. I love this shot. Some of these people are so bad. Obviously, it was probably extremely hard to get this right. But that shot, and then everything just keeps, panning down the shoes, panning down the lanes. Like, it's really well done.
Doesn't want to turn into some machine. Take a woman like you to get through the man in me.
So now we get our first introduction to the 3 protagonists from the movie.
The 3 amigos.
Yeah. Which is Lebowski on the left, Walter in the middle, and Donnie on the right.
Were you listening to the dude's story, Donnie? Walter? Were you listening to the dude's story?
I was bowling.
And you kind of just get thrown right into each of their personalities. Walter, an intense guy who takes bowling very seriously.
Yeah.
Provides a lot of the comedic relief in the movie, mostly by picking on Donnie.
Yep.
So our rug's just been pissed on, to recap. And
Yeah.
we're kind of just seeing what to do now, which, you can forget about it and the movie's over, but we kind of get sent into the plot from here based on how the dude reacts and is guided by Walter.
Right. The thing about that you're getting introduced here, too, is the dude is really supposed to be... It's based on a true character, apparently. It's a combination of 2 people, one that actually went by the dude, but who is part of the Seattle 7 that the Coen Brothers somehow met. So it's like an anti-Vietnam type... He's an anti-Vietnam type guy, right? And then you've got Walter, who is a Vietnam Marine or something, vet, who's like always taking everything to the military view, and like... So you get these 2 contradicting personalities that are somehow best friends, and then Donnie, who's just basically their doormat.
Yeah, and it can be viewed almost like, 2 decades, 15 years removed from Vietnam, how these people kind of just go on with their lives in a more mundane way.
Right.
Obviously, early 90s, there's not as much conflict going on. They're older. So what do they all do? I mean, these are probably people that weren't friends in the 70s, but here they are now, early 90s, on the same bowling league team, and
True.
there we go.
Yeah, yeah. So from here, so that was The Man in Me by Bob Dylan. That is, I mean, that's a classic song. That's the whole album that's off of is actually pretty good. I believe that's his New Morning album. New Morning. The whole album is actually pretty good. I think it's like a forgotten Bob Dylan album, basically. So the next song, the next kind of thing that happened. So we had the rug peeing incident, and then now the Big Lebowski is not the dude, not Jeffrey Lebowski. The Big Lebowski is that his name actually Jeffrey Lebowski? Yeah, he's also Jeffrey Lebowski.
They have the same name.
Yeah. And
which is the whole issue in this movie.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he goes to his house and he's like a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, and he wants a rug or some kind of repayment for a rug and all that, and basically gets laughed away, and you'll see the end of Philip Seymour Hoffman telling him, get out of the house, basically. But then we get introduced to one of many antagonists in the movie, and I say many, like I think there's 3 or 4, plus like one of those 3 or 4 is actually a group of people, the nihilists. So, which as you say all these things out loud, it's like, how ridiculous is this?
I know. We've never had to explain the movie, and it doesn't. Imagine pitching this. So Jesus is the bad guy. No, well, 1 of 10.
Yeah. There's a group of another group of them. I mean, they think about it. They had pretty much, the Coen Brothers had pretty much just done Fargo as their big movie before this. So they went from doing Fargo to, sounds like, the production company just giving them like a blank check and saying like, go do whatever, because if they had to actually pitch this, I don't know how they could have gotten through it and have it be like coherent.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Whatever happened worked, but you can kind of tell, especially as you go through the plot, that like the whole thing is just a random series of events and misunderstandings that kind of get weave and woven together to make like just a fantastic movie. But here we are.
Anyway, here's that scene. So the song that they're using here is Hotel California, but a cover from the Gypsy Kings. And I think they chose this song. This was one of the ones that they had said that they were already planning on using. And it's almost setting him up as like the bad guy in a Western. Like, is the feel that you get at the beginning of this song. Minus the lick of the bowling ball.
Yeah, the flickering guitar.
Yeah.
The slow motion.
Yeah, and everything's just like so smooth and perfect. But the reason that you'll see throughout the movie is they tied the antagonist side to the Eagles, and they're sometimes not always just a person, but then the other side to Jeffrey the dude Lebowski to Credence. And you can do the backstory on Credence and the Eagles, but basically everything that the dude represents is pretty much what Credence is, which is, fighting against the man, not selling out, all that kind of stuff. And everything that the Eagles represents is pretty much the exact opposite. So they use those two artists or bands like kind of as polar opposites in the movie.
Fucking Santana. That creep can roll, man.
Yeah, but he's a pervert, dude.
Yeah, it's funny. A song we'll cover later. There's a story about T-Bone having to get the rights for the song and convincing the Rolling Stones manager to do it, and they showed him the film, and it gets to the point where the dude says, "I hate the fucking Eagles, man." And apparently, as the story goes, the manager just stopped everything and said, "That's it. You can have the song. That was beautiful."
Yeah.
So I think it's funny that like they kind of like you can tell themselves that they hated the Eagles, and they just kind of pit, you know, the Eagles as the antagonists, and apparently that's a pretty, you know, the Eagles are kind of a mainstream band, and I think there's a lot of people who are into the music of the time who share the same feeling towards the Eagles. I don't personally like the Eagles. Do you?
No. I mean, I like pretty much like Hotel California.
Loved it. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, to tell you the truth, the best Eagles song I've ever heard is this version of Hotel California, which isn't even performed by the Eagles. So,
Right. So in this scene, they're basically just running through who Jesus Quintana is, and he represents, you know, obviously he's an antagonist, but he's the antagonist of the bowling league, basically. And you kind of think about it, it's basically like there's an antagonist of a bunch of different things in this movie, which is maybe that's how they sold it. Maybe that makes the most sense. Like, oh, we're going to have an antagonist per theme or something, which I kind of just made up. So.
yeah. Well, hey, it sounds good to me. I mean, you'll see the protagonist is kind of shown. I mean, we haven't covered him yet, but he kind of has another band attached to him on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good segue.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to get the first one right here. So that was, as I said, that was Gypsy King's cover of Hotel California. Great song. You should add it to your listening, your playlist, because that gets me going, that song. But the next one is Looking Out My Back Door by Creedence. This is the first time you really get a little picture of how much he loves Creedence and maybe a little bit of what it represents. But you want to talk about this scene a little bit to set it up before I hit play?
Yeah, sure. Well, the Big Lebowski's just at his doctor checkup. I think my favorite part about this is the double entendre, if you will, because it kind of ends with the doctor saying, all right, putting on a rubber glove, time to bend over. A little rectal exam, which I don't know. I haven't actually been to the doctor in a while, but that was not part of my most recent doctor visit, to be honest with you.
No.
But hey, maybe soon, maybe as I age. Anyway, so yeah, Looking Out My Back Door. It's like a perfect segue from the rectal exam to him driving down the street, and just kind of, I mean, not only that, but the whole rectum damn near killed him aspect of it. But that's whatever that means.
He doesn't say that,
No, that's my own little spice. I mean, this is just kind of this is how the dude lives his life. Like,
right.
It's just a laid back song. Like, the past is behind me. Nothing really phases me. As I smoke my J going down the street in my old beat up car.
Yeah. So, all right, here we go. Looking Out My Back Door by Creedence.
Could you slide your shorts down, Mr. Lebowski, please?
No, man, she hit me right here.
I understand. Could you slide your shorts down, please?
The banging on the roof. Is that the most famous GIF from this movie?
Maybe ever. Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I mean, anything.
But he's being followed right now, and it's a kind of recurring thing through the movie. It turns out he is being followed.
Right.
He's not imagining it. But him drinking a beer, smoking a joint in the front seat is just, I mean, it's very dangerous, but also very funny.
Yeah. This podcast doesn't condone it, but we like it.
Right.
In the movie.
We like it for the movie purpose. There
you go. Pouring the beer on the fire. There you go.
pouring the beer on the fire and trying to flick the joint out the window and it bounces back in on him is so good. I read something on Reddit about I was just random looking for facts and stuff about this movie, but somebody had commented that the Lebowski's car deserved an award for the torment it went through in this movie. Like, it gets pretty beat up, it gets stolen, it gets shot at, it gets lit on fire. Like, it's pretty funny.
It blows up at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. The nihilists get it. So basically what just happened in this movie was right before this, he met Maude, who is actually the Big Lebowski's daughter. And she got him to have the rectal exam, or just to go get checked out from a doctor, which turned out to be like a full body exam, for a reason you'll find out about later. So next song that we have is by Kenny Rogers, and what is it? And the First Edition? Is that his band?
Yeah, which I had never heard of, but Kenny Rogers in the First Edition.
So there you go.
So I guess he kind of outgrew them and took on his own name.
Well, then he did like the whole like go to Vegas, and I think he was a Vegas musician for a long time.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
but,
only fun facts on this podcast.
This next scene makes about as much sense as this whole movie does. And I do know, going back to that comment earlier in the podcast, this was another song that the Coen Brothers were like dead set on having in the movie. I don't know if they were dead set on having it in the movie in the way that they did or not.
It kind of seems like they just wanted it in the movie, and then halfway through we're like, this doesn't fit. We need some kind of acid trip.
Yeah. So basically that's what happens, right?
Yeah. So when we were going through all the freaking bad guys from earlier, I forgot about this one.
Jackie Treehorn.
Yeah, Jackie Treehorn, the adult film mogul, I guess, wants to meet the dude, and drugs one of his signature drink, the White Russian, and we're kind of he passes out on the couch, and we're led into this acid trip / dream sequence.
Is that the guy who's following him in the Volkswagen?
Dude, I get confused because there's there's people following him. The nihilists are following him at one point. Jackie Treehorn's people are following him at one point. The private investigator who's looking for the Big Lebowski's daughter, Tara Reid.
Yeah. It's kind of like he's followed the entire movie.
Yeah. It's just the dude versus the world, really.
Yeah. So, all right, so you said it already. He's just been drugged, and this is his dream sequence. Buckle up, basically, if you haven't seen this before. It's a very phallic scene.
Yeah, I read somewhere while we were, researching the soundtrack for this, that the penis is the central character of the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, I mean,
so
comes up a lot.
Sit on that one. Here we are this whole time we've been talking about the dude as the main character. It's actually the penis.
That clip of him coming around the corner dancing, I think, is my favorite clip in the movie.
I tore my mind on a jagged sky. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
It's also funny that his dream sequence, he's like a plumber. Why?
Why not? Saddam Hussein is the bowling lane attendant.
Yeah.
Which I guess is very topical for the early 90s, but...
Right.
Dreams don't make sense, Like, everything happens. You're a plumber, you're hanging out with Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I don't even know what you would call this. Like, what types of outfits you would say that all these girls are wearing. I mean, I know bowling ball hats aren't typical. Bowling pin hats aren't typical. But it's almost like the Rockettes meet a bowling alley. Maybe.
I'm very sexually confused by all this.
It's funny because for as random and out of place as this scene seems, it's the cover of the movie. This right here is the cover of the movie when they're bowling together, or whatever the image.
Oh, there you go.
That right there. There's an interview. He went on Conan or Kimmel or one of those late night shows a few years ago and talked about this movie, and he said that they played a prank on him, and this scene they obviously superimposed it out. He's rolling on a skateboard or something, and when he turns over and you see his facial reaction right here,
Looking up the skirts of the bowling pin girls.
yeah, they had put like wig, pubic hair, whatever, like in their leotards, so it like took them by surprise, which is just like the best way to play a prank on someone. He's probably trying to take that scene seriously. It's pretty good.
That's a good podcast idea. Just putting in all those weird tricks that directors play on actors to get like
Yeah,
genuine or weird reactions. Write that one down.
yeah, we'll do that. Do that next. And this actually has some really interesting representation. Ev, I don't know if you want to cover the deep meaning of this at all.
Do I know what it is?
No, I don't think anybody does.
The nihilist chasing him with scissors? I don't know if that represents the cutting off of his manhood or what.
So then he obviously is like, he comes to here in this scene and gets pulled over or whatever, arrested. And our next scene is going to be the immediate following that, but we would be very remiss if we didn't show that wild dream sequence, because that's just a classic.
Yeah, so after watching it fresh, I go back to what I said before, and I stand by that they did not know what to do with this song, but they know they wanted to use it. So they
Right.
made this absurd, nonsensical acid trip. And it fits perfectly, but it just, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so the next song is another Eagles song, and so he's just been arrested. So you just saw him get in the back of a police car, obviously coming off of whatever trip Jackie Treehorn sent him on with his drugged white Russian, and
So he's in a bad place.
he's in a pretty bad place.
So it makes sense that the Eagles would be playing right now.
Right. And this is probably one of this next line that or one of the next lines that he actually says here is a pretty quoted line every time somebody talks about the Eagles, and the one that you referenced before. We hear it live here.
Your ugly fucking gold-bricking ass out of my beach community.
So, Easy Peaceful Feeling by the Eagles, being played in whatever taxi he's in.
Jesus, man, could you change the channel?
Fuck you, man. If you don't like my fucking music, get your own fucking cab.
I had a really
I'll
rough...
pull up to the side and kick your ass out.
Man, come on. I had a rough night, and I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
That right there.
If only they had Uber back then, he could have chose his own song.
True.
And
Also
an iPhone.
pretty funny how aggressive the taxi driver got by the music critique.
He's apparently had a rough night too, because like, you think most cabs would just change the channel or turn it down.
Yeah.
You just pick someone up from the police station. So I just saw a funny quote, actually. I hadn't seen this before. Apparently, T-Bone Burnett to Rolling Stone magazine said the Eagles sort of single-handedly destroyed that whole scene that was brewing back then in the
Wow.
70s. That's pretty rough.
Wow.
I don't necessarily, I wasn't alive back then, but here you go. This is the kind of lens you're viewing the Eagles through the movie.
Yeah,
you
right.
got the bad guy from earlier getting arrested and hung, just after getting drugged. This is when you hear the Eagles.
I wonder what he means specifically. If that's like that Laurel Canyon, like the Neil Youngs of the world, and the Creedence would be part of that. I wonder if that's like that scene that was building out in California with classic, what's now classic rock, but if he means that they sent it into like metal or something that's different or more sold out, like what does he mean?
I don't know. I wish that's something we got into before doing a soundtrack on this movie.
Episode. Yeah.
But
we'll get it next time.
Worth mentioning. And another thing that doesn't actually add much context, but I thought was funny, is apparently Jeff Bridges ran into someone named Glenn Frey, who is apparently... Fry, okay. Who's a big Eagles fan over here, who's a member of the Eagles, and he said, I ran into Glenn Frey, and he gave me some shit. I can't remember what he said exactly, but my anus tightened a bit. So...
there you go, looking out his back door.
Nice.
See? That was pretty good.
Full circle.
Yeah, Glenn Frey is one of the main guys in the Eagles for a long time. I think he's passed. But anyway, so...
Rip Glenn Frey. It's a tribute to him.
The next one that we have, really put it in here, there's... You can't really hear too much of the music. It's kind of happening in the background. And one of the things, credit to the Coen Brothers for doing this, that they did really well, happens in the intro scene. It happened in terms of The Man in Me. It happens with Hotel California, the Gypsy King song. Happens when he's in the car with Looking Out My Back Door. It happens here. And then the one we're going to talk about after this. They do a good job of like having the music play and then making it clear when it's playing in the background as well in the movie, which is cool. It makes it feel like you're there more than I'm watching like this overdubbed version of this song.
Right.
When sometimes they go back and forth, which is cool.
Yeah, like you said, for most of this, it just seems like that's the song that's playing in the room they're in. Whereas, often with movie soundtracks, and it works, but it's over the action and what's playing, and you're thinking, okay, well, this isn't the song that's being played in the scene. But for most of these, and especially here, I think is the biggest instance of that. It kind of goes in and out with the dialogue, and you can tell that that's being played on a record player or something in the room.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling. Like, I know that the actors can hear what I'm hearing, like in their world, and even though it's a movie, you're watching it on TV. Like, there's just that little bit of authenticity, which is cool. So the next song that we are going to play, which we just talked about, is, or that element of it, is I Got It Bad, parentheses, and Good. It's by Nina Simone. The reason that we want to put this in here, Nina Simone is I think she was chosen for this scene in particular because she was a civil rights activist, human rights activist, and political... made a lot of political statements and helped lead those types of things. This is a direct reference in this scene. They talk about how the dude is part of the Port Huron Papers and part of the Seattle 7, and his conversation with Maud in bed after she basically breaks into his apartment again. And, they do it.
What do they do?
Here we go. It.
Maud?
Love me.
That's my robe.
Tell me about yourself, Jeffrey.
Well, not much to tell. I was one of the authors of the Port Huron Statement, the original Port Huron Statement.
Now, is he full of shit here, do we think? I mean, obviously you said it's based off a real guy, but the dude in the movie. Do we believe this?
I don't. It's part of the mystique to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it does go into the character development aspect we said. Like, they're pairing this song with this scene to show that, you know, back in the 70s, the dude was, you know, partaking in activism and,
Right.
you know, probably against the Vietnam War and all that. But so I guess it's believable. I guess
Even
it's here
if he
for a
wasn't,
reason.
even if he's not like the, I think the guy's name is Jeff Dowd, is the guy who's part of the Seattle Seven, who's loosely based off of. Even if he wasn't that guy, like he at least believes that he is, or saying it to the point where it seems like that's who he embodies as his character. So like, you know, that's interesting in terms of the choice of the music and why they talk about it in this way. One thing that's kind of funny is like, all the stuff that's happening, she wants to have a baby, but doesn't want somebody who's going to be around, so to speak. Like she doesn't want a clingy dad. She doesn't, you know, whatever, which seems like a ridiculous thing, but she's choosing him because she knows that he's flaky and he'll never actually want to be in the kid's life and be in her way.
Strict drug regimen to keep my mind, you know, limber, and very fucking...
I just Googled Jeff Dowd, and there's a picture of him bowling, and this is, I mean, I know the dude is taken from a few different people and kind of melded together, but I think this is the main inspiration. And maybe
It looks like him?
Yeah, maybe we can superimpose that with the powers of editing, but
Yeah,
it's pretty spot on.
that's funny. I think they knew him or met him or something like that, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if they met him and were like, oh, we should write a character around him.
Do you think he, was that yoga?
It increases the chances of conception.
He does. He has such a good spit take with that white
Yeah.
What do
Russian.
you think this is all about? Fun and games? I want a child.
Okay, yeah, okay, but let me let me explain something about the dude.
Look, Jeffrey.
Very clearly not in the dude's
In
plans.
fact,
Yeah.
I don't
Fatherhood.
want the father to be someone
Not that he has any
else,
plans, really.
or who has in raising the child himself.
Oh, so that doctor,
Exactly.
Right, and there's your explanation for why she sent him to the doctor to make sure, I don't know, what they were checking, but
And also, again, in this scene, we have the main character again, the penis.
your father.
featured.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
What?
Oh man, my thinking about this case has become very uptight. Yeah. Your father.
It's kind of funny. This is like, what is this movie, like 2.5 hours or something like that? This is
Yeah.
probably 2 hours into the movie, and like he's just figuring out what's happening. Can you imagine? Like if you're watching this for the first time, it's exactly where you are to this point in the movie. You're just like, what the hell is happening in this movie?
I think that's kind of the appeal of it, is we're figuring it out in real time with the dude.
Right. So we have one last song, and this is the song that you mentioned quickly that we were going to talk about later. You want to tell that story again, or like talk about that at all?
Yes.
While we're here, so it's fresh.
So badly. No, so basically, just this is a song originally by the Rolling Stones, but as we saw earlier with the Eagles, this is covered by Townes Van Zandt, another great singer-songwriter. But they still needed rights, I guess, from the Stones to use the song, even though it wasn't their version.
Right.
So they went to the manager of the Stones, a guy named Alan Klein, who owned the rights, and showed them this movie and basically said, we want to use this song for the movie. We'll show you the movie if that helps. And it got to that scene we saw earlier where he says, "I hate the fucking Eagles, man," when he was in the back of the cab. And as the story goes, Klein stands up and says, "That's it, you can have the song. That was beautiful." So it seems that Alan Klein, the manager of the Rolling Stones, agreed with T-Bone Burnett in their assessment that the Eagles were killed the 70s rock movement.
Yeah. I think you told me the one we were talking about that you sent me the article or wherever you found that info.
No, I just
and
made
funny.
That
Oh
no.
Shit. And the funny thing was I think T-Bone Burnett and the Coen Brothers were just trying to get a discount on the rights, like because the royalties cost money, obviously. So like they were just trying to get it down from whatever the standard fee was for the Rolling Stones, which is probably a pretty penny. And in the end, got it for free because of that.
Right.
Which
he wanted
$150,000
for the use of the song. Which, I mean, I don't have much experience in song rights, but that's a lot of money.
Right.
Even though the soundtrack is an important part of the of the movie, like I would assume a lot of people walk away from $150,000 just to use one song, unless the whole movie is based around it. So to show them the movie, get on the same page, and to have that much conviction in hating the Eagles, to give $150,000 100% discount on a song,
You're right.
that's pretty serious.
Yeah, and that's in 1998. So by today's dollars, that's at least more.
Yeah, at least 151,000.
Yeah. So this is the final scene in the movie, and no major updates except for Donnie's dead, and there's was there a conclusion to the rug? I forgot about the rug this whole time. It's like not even the point of the movie. Past halfway in.
I don't know. I gotta watch it again.
Right. Anyway, so this is a nice closing to the movie, and we get an appearance from Sam Elliott, who just, he's the voice of voices. So here we go.
Coors.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're sitting there in your cell.
So this is another one of those scenes where it kind of goes back and forth between what you're hearing in terms of the soundtrack, and then in a second when they get to the bar, the audio will go down a little bit, and you'll hear that it's playing over the speakers in the background in the bowling alley, which I think is just a really nice touch. And they didn't stop the music to have it, playing or something, or so you could hear the audio.
Good luck tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, man. Sorry to hear about Donnie. Oh, yeah, well, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes, Hey, man.
Howdy do, dude.
I wondered if I'd see you again.
I wouldn't miss the semis. How things
yeah?
been going?
What's kind of funny is Sam Elliott starts the movie and ends the movie. And it talks about how great of a story it's going to be at the beginning, I think. And then never really, there's like no real story, or it doesn't really get anywhere. You end up back at the same place. They're in the bowling alley and their life is exactly the same.
Which I guess is the whole point, but...
Yeah.
The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that. It's good knowing he's out there, the dude, taking her easy for all us sinners. Shush. I sure hope he makes the finals. Well, that about does her. Wraps her all up.
So he closes out the movie here. So that's all we had. So what do we do? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 songs. Plus one that we didn't talk about at the beginning. We were playing Booker T and the MGs' "Behave Yourself," which is in the movie, but not really a crucial song to kind of cover or in a crucial scene. It's just kind of playing in the background and where it's played, but for the purpose of introing our show, it was great. So
Yeah.
we'll outro with that too.
Are you going to lead us out with it as well?
Yeah, I could do that.
Oh.
I could do that. Why
Maybe
not?
you should. Yeah.
So
But hey, that was fun.
that was our first episode of Soundtracks. Thanks for tuning in. We already know what we're gonna do next. So do we want to say it, Ev?
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Well, you can say it.
Next we're going to be doing the 1970 classic Halloween.
Oh man.
No. Oh no. Nope. Looks like I'm looking at the wrong document. No, we're going to be doing a more recent film this time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, from one of your favorites, Quentin Tarantino, with Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt.
That
great movie. Great soundtrack.
We got it all ready to go. We picked out the songs. That's going to be an undertaking because it's there's so much going on in that movie.
Yeah, definitely a lot different than this one. So maybe we'll just continue to figure out what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Talking about music and movies at the same time.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.